Hurricane Milton continues to get closer to the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, landfall here not expected, but certainly the southern side of that system will be impacting the Yucatan Peninsula. What's so interesting, though, and the reason why I have you looking at a time lapse of the evolution of this, it goes from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in just 10 hours. That's right. This morning at 2 a.m. it was a Cat 1. And then by lunchtime, it was up to a 5. And then it actually got so strong, it was the second strongest Category 5 in the Gulf of Mexico ever recorded, going back to the start of the satellite era, 1979. Now, we have seen slight weakening, and I use that very loosely. Wind still 165 miles per hour. It's still a Category 5 hurricane. Still has gusted 200 miles per hour. Still has the potential to be catastrophic. But at least that central pressure is coming up a little bit, showing slight signs of weakening, and we are expecting that slight weakening, especially as we head into your Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at that, the miles per hour gradually dropping, so coming down from a 5 to a 4, then to a 3 prior to landfall. Still a forecast to make landfall as a major hurricane. I don't want to downplay that, but there's a big difference between a 165 mile per hour storm and a 125 mile per hour storm. So currently we are still expecting landfall here in the Bay Area down toward the Sarasota area on Wednesday night as a Category 3. But I'll say a couple of things. With the eye wall, which is where the strongest winds are situated, farther away from us, winds will be less of a concern. On the flip side, we're still going to be in that front right quadrant, meaning storm surge will remain a major threat for us. That's why we have those evacuations in effect for zones A and B. So I have had some folks on Twitter and on the social media platforms asking, okay, well, how does this compare to Ian storm surge or to Helene storm surge? And it really just depends upon your location because of where Ian made landfall on Cayo Costa, kind of cutting up through Lee County. So for example, up in Venice, on the northern side of Ian, we didn't have much surge. We only saw about 2 feet. Meanwhile, with Helene, over 5 feet of storm surge there in Venice. Basically, Helene's storm surge will be surpassed with this system based upon the current trajectory. We are expecting 6 to 10 feet of storm surge, so please keep that in mind. Meanwhile, for Ian, that maximum storm surge, of course, for Sanibel and Fort Myers Beach reaching over 13 feet. Nonetheless, still those spots expecting 6 to 10 with this one. So let's talk more about that storm surge forecast. From Inglewood up through the Antelope River area, that does include Tampa Bay, 10 to 15 feet of storm surge are currently forecast. Between Inglewood down to Bonita Beach, 6 to 10 feet of storm surge are forecast. This does include Charlotte Harbor and our barrier islands, including but not limited to, say, Captiva, Sanibel, Pine Island, Matlacha, and then from Bonita Beach down to Chokoloskee, including all of coastal Collier County, 4 to 7 feet of surge are a possibility. That means first-story homes at sea level will be inundated. So know your elevation and, most importantly, know your zone. Florida disaster. Quick Google, know your zone, and that way you can know if you're in zones A or B. So our main weather threats, conditions will be going downhill on Wednesday. That's when those rounds of rain will start to push in. Yes, we will have the threat for flooding, heavy rainfall, 3 to 6 inches. Also with those outer rain bands, an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Again, storm surge, our biggest threat Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And with those wind gusts, we will still have some Category 1 force wind gusts, 70 to 85 miles per hour. Of course, we'll continue to fine-tune this forecast as new data arrive. But again, the worst expected Wednesday night into Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, improvements are expected. And some good news, Friday and Saturday, mostly sunny with lower humidity.